Bennett to the podium, the University of Virginia. Coach will spend about 12 minutes with us. Coach, we've got microphones on both sides of the room, so no opening comment. We'll just jump straight in.
All right. I like that even more.
So to our left, front row.
Dan Tortora, wakeupcalldt.com. Coach, to have the transfers going out of the program as well as the freshmen coming in, just speak on the dynamic of the team this year and if it feels drastically different from maybe what you're used to at Virginia.
Yeah, good question. It is. There's a newness to this team and an uncertainty with that. Short term, to lose, the two, Marielle and Darius were going into their last year, who had a lot of college experience, have been in our system. You never want to see that, and we lost a lot of quality play and good experience. Short term, that may affect us. I don't know for sure, but I think what it's going to do is allow us to. There won't be as difficult playing time. Guys are going to get thrown into the fire. The DeAndre Hunters, the Ty Jerome, Kyle Guy, the returners. There's going to be opportunity to play, and I think that's going to be good for the long term. But there's an uncertainty and a newness to this team that I haven't had in a number of years. I think there's some excitement. The two redshirt players and Jay Huff and DeAndre Hunter, I think we'll have to continue to evolve, but I'm used to, having double-digit returning scores, guys who are established. Now we have that in leadership and guys that have been crucial in our winning in Isaiah and Devin and Jack Salt, but the rest are either going into their second year or first year in our program, which will be interesting. And again, they've been working hard, so we'll find out.
Coach, we've got a question here, third row.
Frank Maloney, Who's Talking, Fox Sports 910. Coach, it's very clear that your team, since Media Day and then the breakout sessions earlier, there's a lot of personality on this team and a lot of humor, not necessarily on the court. They made that very clear that when they're in practice, it was serious business. But maybe off the court, and that never really has shown through in the last 9 years. These guys, they're very friendly with each other, very loose. And do you pick up on that vibe?
Yeah, it's a close group. I think we've had great unity on our team, but I think you got to work like crazy on the court. But I didn't think you have to have fun on the court. But they seem to enjoy the process. And Isaiah and Devin are great that way. So I really have enjoyed this preseason with these guys, my time with them. I really enjoy all my teams. But this group has I think they know there is a proving. We're going to have to earn it and prove it like we've had to every year. But there's more. Maybe they're not as much as expected, and I think they're eager to try to show that they can do some things. But they seem to really. It feels like one of the closer teams I've had at this point. Now, what will test that is when you get into the season, and maybe playing time. Though a lot of people are going to be playing time isn't maybe quite what they think, or opportunities. You go through some difficult situations. That always tests that bond, but we really have strong leadership at the top, and they do love life. And I've watched them do things behind the scenes that speak to what they're about, just in the community that no one knows, no cameras are there, and they're doing things that have been really powerful. So there's a good moral fiber on this team. I mean, we've been fortunate that way, but they're really going above and beyond even what some other teams have to make a difference in our community, and I love that about them.
Coach, to your right, directly in front.
Hey, Tony, Gene Wong, Washington Post. Without your two top scorers back from last season, where do you kind of foresee the offensive production coming from this season?
Yeah, I think it'll have to be evenly distributed. Kyle Guy will be an important player. We had it was just a blue-white scrimmage, but he showed some nice things. We're going to have to try to figure out ways to get a little more interior scoring. I think that was a weakness last year. We did not go inside, and whether it's guards getting in there at times or the bigs, just all those areas, I think evenly distributed. Some of the guys, that's where the uncertainty comes in. I think everybody's going to have to step it up a little bit, find some different ways. And we've worked hard to make little adjustments. Maybe it'll be noticeable, maybe it won't. But also we're going to have to be good defensively, because without that, we got no chance. But I hope we'll find we have some skill, some guys who can stretch it and shoot it and do things, so we'll rely on that. So I'm hoping that it'll be a little more balanced this year than perhaps in the past.
Next question just behind him.
Yeah, could you
How would you describe or evaluate Kyle's freshman year, and what do you see as potential differences this year?
Yeah, I think whenever you come in your first year, he was pretty slight coming in, and he's still, still not. He's not a, a Hulk or anything like that. But he put on some quality strength and weight, and I think that'll help him. He'll know the physicality, the duration of the year, what to expect. And he showed, Ty, Mamadi, and Kyle, all three of those guys who were in their first year as the season progressed, I thought they had some real nice showings and some real valuable experience that will bode well for them this year. We've got to get Ty healthy. He's in a boot right now, but an important part of it. But Kyle has that ability, as he showed in big games, Carolina, ACC tournament, hitting big shots, Florida State, where he can get it going. And whenever you have a weapon like that, certainly you want to use that. I hope he'll be more assertive and aggressive this year with smarts. Doesn't mean you're just wild and crazy, but that's going to be the challenge for him, and to step that up with obviously more know-how and understanding and experience from last year.
Coach, from the podium here, you talk about the fiber of your student athletes. As you're entering into a year in which you're really not sure what to expect, what's the fiber of you telling you about your emotions, your feelings? How do you pack them? How do you unpack them? How do you approach it?
Could you repeat that? Sorry.
Yeah, the idea that this might be a learning year for you, your own emotion, your own feelings, because you're not quite sure what to expect with this team. If you've had teams in the past that you could expect things for, your emotion is pretty much what you've always known it to be.
Yeah, I think they have to know that I'm for them. I think that's important. Some teams you could drive, and I've been pushing hard in practice, and sometimes you see sometimes my demeanor on the sideline, and I try to be fairly positive and calm, but in practice we challenge and we push real hard, and sometimes I can get a little pessimistic, and because I know defense is not natural the way we got to push it, and we really go over with a fine-tooth comb the things they want. But I have to have sound judgment and knowing these guys know I am for them. And there's got to be some patience and perspective with the uncertainty of their youth and the newness. But I think that's really important. And I've got to be mindful of that. I've got a great staff in that regard, and I think that the players have to know that. We've done some different things this year, even team bonding, however you want to say it, that I hope will show some fruit in that regard. But that's that part of it, that emotion and that the feelings and the sense you get is important.
Other questions for Coach from the room? We'll go back to Dan here in the front row left.
Coach, you spoke on the team having some fun together. Isaiah Wilkins today said Nigel Johnson, Kyle Guy, DeAndre Hunter, Ty Jerome, and Devin Hall are his top 5 comedians in no specific order. Do you have a top 5 yourself, or would you concur that that's a fair list?
Yeah. Is it that I'm laughing at them or with them? I get by that. No, near them. No, they're Mamadi can be funny. They all, they're lighthearted. I like that. I really do. I like that they're not so gripping it so tight that they're white knuckling everything. They do seem to. I think you need that. There's so much expected of these young men. There's a lot of pressure. They get praised. They get cut down, and I think if they can have a proper perspective, if us as coaches can show them that and encourage that, I think that's a healthy way to grow and live through life. It really is. So it's a fun-loving group that way for sure. And I'm sure they make fun of me behind my back more than I even care to know, but that's all part of being a good team and having fun with it.
Coach, your last question from the podium. Do you have to have a piece of hardware to say we had a successful season?
Define hardware. I mean, I think success, we've had some really great years, and we've been fortunate in that way. Your goal always is to, have your team reach close to its full potential. Of course you want to win. We'll be evaluated and judged by everyone, so, but you want to win, I know that, but it's how you go about it, the process, that's always going to matter. And I think there's the on-court success is one way, and then there's, of course, the off-court. And I think they're both equally important, and I'm judged by more of the on-court. I get it, and I'll be evaluated, but we know what we're capable of, what we're pushing for, and we're always going to be disappointed if we can't attain some of those goals that are important. So hardware is that the national championship, conference, yeah, all those things, the NCAA tournament, it's where you're at, what's your perspective on it.
Coach, good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks a bunch.